Hey guys, Yumi here again, and today I'm bringing you some Scout Heli gameplay in Battlefield 4 on the map Lost Islands Conquest Large. And to be honest, I've been really procrastinating getting this video out because I wasn't really sure if I should do it or not. And this video is going to be really opinionated, so if you don't really care about my opinion, which you shouldn't because I'm just some random guy, then just might as well just stop watching this video right now. Because yeah, I'm just a random guy. My opinion really does not matter at all. But this video, I'm going to be talking about what I think about what's going on with the DLCs lately. Not Battlefield 4 DLCs, but Evolve and Destiny and those games like that that have been, in my eyes, completely fucking over the video game industry. So I just wanted to talk about how I feel about that. And yeah, if you don't really care, then don't bother watching the video. So, Evolve came out last week to massive critical acclaim and massive video gamer dismay. The game ended up being really hollow, just like many of us predicted, and it's basically just multiplayer with a few modes and a few hunters and a few monsters, and that's it, 60 bucks, plus the extra money that you would pay to get the expansion packs in the future, or some of them at least. But as soon as the game came out, as hollow as it was, for some reason there was just tons and tons of DLC ready to be bought. Tons of skins and monsters and hunters, and it wasn't something that people were really happy about, to put it lightly, because on release, it's obvious that all of this stuff was just taken out of the game to be sold to us in pieces for extra money, for them to make even more of a profit than they should. And honestly, this is something that I would see in a game like a free-to-play title like PlanetSide 2 or something, but no, this isn't a full game that you already paid $60 for. So the fact that they already have this whole system set up for you to spend even more money is just downright insulting to all of us. Now, I'm not saying that I have a problem with aesthetic DLC, as in stuff that changes the camos or paint jobs of guns. I really don't care about that. I'm not a big fan of it being there on release. That was one of my big problems with it. I'm really glad I didn't pre-order Evolve. I wasn't really interested in it at all. I guess the big problem with it is just that it feels like they're trying to squeeze out every single last dollar that they possibly can out of the consumer, and especially seeing how hollow the game was. It was like they knew that it was so hollow, so they wanted to get all of this stuff out at release to make as much money as possible before they can move on to the next project. And that seems so sleazy, just like Destiny last year. And Destiny's big problem was there was no story to it at all. If you wanted the story, hey, you better look it up on the internet and read up, instead of it being put in the game like actual game developers. And this really pissed me off, because Destiny is made by Bungie, and Bungie made the original Halo trilogy, and that trilogy had one of the best stories in video game history, to me and to a lot of people that would agree to that. But then it was like, hey, you want more story? How about you buy our expansion pass? And then you get 10 years of content, all of the DLC with all of the story that was supposed to be in the main game, but was forcibly taken out by Activision to be sold back to you in pieces. And that's exactly what happened. The past two DLCs that have come out for Destiny had little bits and bobs of the story that what all of us expect were supposed to be in Destiny, but weren't. And this is becoming a growing trend in video games. More and more games are doing it. While you may not care about it right now, I think you probably should, because it's starting to spread to more and more games. It just started in free-to-play, and then all of the AAA titles were looking at how much money the free-to-play games were making off of it, and they were like, hey, what if we started putting it into our AAA titles? So now we're starting to see more and more DLC in the games as well. And the Creative Assembly was a big perpetrator with this as well with Rome 2. There was DLCs coming out with Rome 2 called the Beast of War DLC, and this had like camels and stuff in it. But if you go back to gameplay back before Rome 2 came out, the developers that were playing a battle were playing with camels, so it was blatantly obvious that they were taken out of the game to be sold back to us at an increased price at a later time. And this is almost stealing people's money, and basically stealing money from us when we're paying more for a game than what it's actually worth. And I can't believe that it's actually that I've gotten to the point where I can actually say back in my day, because I'm only 18. It's kind of weird that I can say back in my day. But honestly, back in my day, DLC was almost non-existent. The only things that we had were actual expansions, like what Warcraft has now. Warcraft is one of the last video games in the world that actually does expansions right, with actual huge pieces of a game that has its own story or expands on the original story in a great way. Now, I don't really have a problem with the standard first-person shooter DLC style, just new maps and more guns. I'm fine with that because first-person shooters are all about multiplayer, so it doesn't really matter in their cases. But with single-player experiences, DLC is only done right in cases like Skyrim, where with the Dragonborn DLC, where we actually got like an entire new island that was pretty sizable with its own story and new characters, new animals and stuff, and that was awesome. And back in my day, again, this was the standard, this was the norm. It just saddens me whenever I think of how money-grabbing the industry has become, because DLCs like this rarely ever happen. I guess gamers as a whole who are really coming up in arms about this DLC issue are just feeling even more jaded and pissed because of this past year in games, and that's kind of continuing into this year as well. We've had so many terrible releases last year and just overall disappointing experiences, especially in Ubisoft's case with Assassin's Creed Unity and The Crew and Watch Dogs, all of which feel like content was taken out of the game and were either degraded or ported, and it just felt really cheap. So I guess that's a big reason why we're all so much more upset about it than what we normally are, because it feels like we're being charged even more for even less quality games, and especially half games like Titanfall and Evolve that have these full expansion pass things ready, but there's no story and practically no multiplayer either. It's just overall, you know, sometimes you think about the direction the industry is heading, and it's kind of frightening just thinking about it. It's becoming overwhelmed with greed and more importance on money and sometimes political messages more than just having a good experience, making a good game for people that want to pay for it. Because, hey, here's a news flash, you know, you make a good game and people are going to buy it even more than if it was a bad game that you just marketed to hell. So sorry for this turning into kind of a rant. I just really wanted to share my opinion on this whole DLC issue that's kind of become even more of a problem than ever before because of recent events. So, until next time, if you guys like this or if you agree with me, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And this is Yummy. Goodbye, and good hunting.